What's going on, people? My name is Jacob, and today I want to talk about Halo 6 and what you can do to become the ultimate fucking badass game that we all should expect for it to be. Now, we know there's going to be a new franchise. It's going to be from Halo 5 to, I'm guessing, to Halo 8 or Halo 9. We're just going to have to wait and see, but we know as well that 343 is going to be the new caretaker, or is the new caretaker of Halo. Now, so far, people have not been so happy with, the direction of where Halo has been going so far with the new, caretakers. But it's really up to them to not screw the pooch again, because they disappointed a lot of people, including myself, with Halo 5. Now, this came down basically to, the multiplayer and, the campaign, because when it comes down to Halo, both of these things matter really, really well. Both of these things are essential elements that make the Halo experience such a, genuinely good experience. It's fun to play over and over again. I can tell you from back in the day when I was, really into Halo 2 and Halo 3, and I still am, until that the MCC hardly even fucking works still, even after all this time, because I just forgot about it. But whatever, is the fact that I could play the campaign over and over. I could go back in there, I could defeat that fucking scarab, I could take his, fucking ass down, and I'm gonna enjoy myself. I mean, I can have some people play with me, some of my friends, some old time, Halo players, and just, wreck shit up. Why? Because it was such a fun campaign. But the thing that made it so fun is the fact that these enemies, for their time, had a level of complexity that, went along with the game, with the gameplay experience. Now, where Halo 5 fell, flat on its face when it came down to the campaign itself, an overall gameplay experience from, that campaign, is the fact that there were no new enemies. You are fighting the same enemies, which are, the Covenant, but, they break them down and, supposedly, they broke down to another faction or whatever. But when it came down to the gameplay itself, it was very much alike. It was too much of the same thing, and that's where they fucked up, in a very major way. Because if you're gonna increase the overall power of the Spartan that we're using, because I mean they're getting overpowered as as the games have been going on, you can actually just ground slam into the floor. You have 3 other Spartans just watching your back the whole time, and it just makes the game so much easier. It's like it's catering to noobs. That's just the way it feels. But this could have been easily alleviated if they would have added more complex enemies to, the scene. Maybe not elites. Maybe they could have added a different, species. Maybe they, bring the brutes back. Bring more complex enemies into the scene, because when it comes down to it, you have the same, enemies that do the same exact thing from Halo 2 and Halo 3. What ends up happening is you're on autopilot as soon as you take over, log. It's, a bit embarrassing that Halo 5 is still running through the same formula, as Halo 2 and Halo 3, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, since, they're increasing the power level of, the heroes, of the Master Chief and, Spartan Locke and the rest of the Spartans, so do, the other enemies' power level should be increased. Now, it's not just about, just Jacob, just, go to legendary, what's it called, mode, and, you'll get your fill, of, how hard the game could be. But the thing is, it's not that, they're adding more complex situations into the game. It's not that the complexity of the enemies, is increasing, their tactics, the gameplay itself. No, it's just the damage output that's, being dealt to you is the only thing that it's increasing. Now, it shouldn't be this way. Now, I bring Halo 5 up because Halo 6 cannot do the same thing. Halo 6 cannot rely on the same formula that Halo 5 took. It cannot be that linear. It cannot be that, tedious when it comes down to the gameplay itself. It's gotta have another level of excitement. It's gotta have something else to spice up the formula. 5 titles in, and the same formula, it's gonna start getting a bit repetitive, and people are gonna start getting very, very tired. It's basically Call of Duty all over again, and I don't want a game that I love, that I grew up playing, to be fucked with, by fucking incompetent, developers. And I know it's not that fair to say that, you're looking to, towards them, but this is what we have to do. We have to criticize the future titles that are coming up, because we don't want the future titles like Halo 6 and Halo 7 and Halo 8 to go through the same mistakes that Halo 5 did. Because everybody was let down by this title. Everybody had such high expectations because of the fact that, hey, the Master Chief is coming back. Hey, we're gonna get to find out what the fuck happens to him. Hey, the Arbiter is coming back. Those are some of the mistakes that they also did. Now, what I also want to talk about is the missions themselves. When you compare a mission like the Kraken, when you're defeating the Kraken, or a mission, with a mission that, like for example, a Scarab, they're very, very different. And it doesn't feel as rewarding to kill or take down a Kraken as good as it feels to take down a Scarab. And the reason being is they make it so bloody obvious. It's like they're catering to noobs, to the new players, to the regulars, to to the casual gamers. The level of complexity is dropped down severely, because of them, because they don't want to make them work too much, I guess you could say. My Halo games could have a level of complexity that I could, try to find out on my own, be like, oh man, how can I take this motherfucking thing down? I mean, can I just shoot the legs, like, the Scarab? Can I get inside? Can I snipe it? Maybe can I, use a turret that's mounted on the side of the mountain? Something like that, like, the Scarabs from Halo 1, from Halo 2 and Halo 3 had. From Halo 2, as soon as you encounter the first Scarab, you have multiple kind of like bridges, I guess you could say, and you have different options. You can either wait for the Scarab to reach the end of the dam where it's trapped, and you can use the turret to actually take down some of the enemies that are coming out from the cockpit, I guess you could say. If it's even called a cockpit, and just mow them down so that you can have less resistance, especially on higher difficulties. As you're going inside, you just have to deal with a couple of elites as soon as you step inside. Or you can snipe them. There's plenty of sniper rifle ammo, sniper rifles, shotties, battle rifles. So you can actually snipe them as the Scarab is going under the bridges. And that's how you can kill some of the resistance that's coming out from the Scarab itself. Or you can just jump down like a motherfucking badass into the cockpit and just take every single one of them down with your shotty and spamming grenades. It had different ways that you could figure out on your own on how to take down said enemy. Here, when it comes down to Halo 5, when you compare those two missions, it's very obvious. They tell you, through, I guess, to the intercom, or through your communication device, hey, there's a power core in the middle, go inside, destroy it, and get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out of Dodge. Extremely easy, extremely oversimplified, and that's something that it's one of my major complaints, and I don't want that to go into Halo 6. I don't want that to jump into and run over Halo 6 and Halo 7 and Halo 8. Because they need something different by this point. They need a different level of complexity, and that's one of the things that I want to emphasize in this video. That the level of complexity of the game has to increase. If you're gonna make overpowered Spartans, everything else has to match its power level. Everything else has to, become overpowered as well. I know it sounds kind of weird, I know it sounds kind of odd, but that's just the way it has to work. That's just, it's a way that the gameplay itself can actually get better, and it can get more interesting, overall. So what does Halo 6 have to do overall? So, it can be the badass game that it should be, from the future. Something we can expect from the future. And I recommend that if you're watching this video, I recommend that you voice, your opinion. I recommend that, hey, demand more for your games. There's nothing wrong with demanding more for your games. It is your right, trust me. So some of the things that they can do is they can change the level of complexity within the troops or the enemy types. So they can bring in the Covenant back again, but they're gonna have to change the tactics. Also, they're gonna have to change it. They're gonna have to go towards a different formula. Implement a different formula overall for the game, and different enemies, and most and not least, a satisfying story. A satisfying storyline that can actually please all of the Halo players, and motherfucking no cliffhangers. I swear to God, if I see another cliffhanger, I'm gonna there's gonna be a little rage coming from Jacob. But whatever, I digress. So please like and share the video if you enjoyed it. This is Jacob, logging off.